good. Hello and welcome. My name is Ashley Torian, and this is Ashley's Heart Song on the Win Win Women TV network. This is the place where we get out of the stress and back into our body, our life, and our business. When we tap into the song of our heart, that is when we master the mind and the stress that steals our life. Welcome to today's show. This show is all about the cravings unwrapped. It's the sweet, it's the salty, it's the savory. Those cravings, they can come upon us just like that. We are going along the road and feeling good about our eating and our exercise and the habits that we've created in our life, when all of a sudden, bam, out of the blue, we will get cravings. And those cravings can sometimes go on for days upon days upon days. So I'm so happy to be here with you today to talk about cravings and to give you just a little bit of an idea of what you're working with, but then on top of that, have a solution for you so that you can tackle these. Yes, all right. Yes. So here we are, all about cravings, but first, y'all know what we have to do. We've got to do a little vitality score. We got to figure out, where are we right here today? Now, if you're where I am today, today is the most beautiful sunshiny day. And over the weekend that we just had, we had all of this rain. And to me, it was a gully washer, y'all. I mean, it rained and rained and rained and rained and rained. And today and yesterday and today both look like the world just went through a car wash. Because the sky is so crystal clear and blue. The leaves are so green. Oh, it's just clarity at its finest. So on days like this, we feel our energy lifted automatically. And doesn't that make you curious? If on a really rainy day, you find your energy is low, but on a sunny day, you find your energy is high. Isn't that interesting? How just our environment can play a role in the vitality of our body and how we feel at any given time. That's why it's important for us to check in and do our vitality score so we can see what is impacting our energy levels in a positive or negative way. So let's look at the physical body on a scale of 1 to 10. Your physical body, 1 being your physical body just feels, it's just really yucky. No energy, it hurts. Maybe your body is just super lethargic, or you're on the other end of the scale, a 10, where your body feels solid. It feels strong. It feels mobile and flexible. It's working for you. It is spot on accurate in the way that it's functioning. That's a 10. Or are you somewhere in between? Write down your vitality score. And if you've joined in on the show live with me today, welcome. I am happy to have you here. Welcome. So then the second category we're going to be looking at is our mental energy. So mentally, where are you today? Are you feeling foggy in thinking? Just like your mind has a life of its own. It's just carrying on, doing whatever it wants to do. That's going to be close to a 1. Or do you have clarity of thinking? Are you on point with your thoughts? Are you creative in your thoughts? That's going to get you closer to a 10. Put down your score. Now your physical body, or not your physical, your emotional body. Emotionally, where are you today? Are you a little moody? Maybe a little edgy? That's going to get you down to that 1. Or if you feel just joy-filled and balanced and free, that's going to get you closer to a 10. Write down your score. Now we have the spiritual body. Spiritually, where are you? Do you find that you are below the line in your heart set, in the way you're thinking, feeling, moving, and being, just the whole of you? Are you feeling disconnected from your purpose, disconnected and not in alignment with your creator? Where are you on that? Or are you closer to a 10 where you are aligned, you are purpose-driven, you are inspired? That's closer to a 10. Add your score up. Highest score is a 40. The closer you are to that 40, the more you are really getting yourself in alignment, working on all those areas of your life to bring you back to center. So you live a more joyful and fulfilled life. That is the point, right? A joyful and fulfilled life. And sometimes these cravings that we have don't make it quite so joyful or fulfilling. In my lifetime, I have had cravings like crazy. When I was younger, I was a closet eater, which what that means is that you don't let anybody know about those pound bag M&Ms that are in your bedroom inside the shoebox, and you take them out and eat them whenever you feel like you need it. Like they're going to give you that pump up of confidence or something. Who knows what we're thinking in that down stage. But I will never forget, I had this math teacher, and his name was Coach Gibson, and I just adored him, and he loved M&Ms. So one day I went to the store and bought a pound bag of M&Ms for him, and I bought a not fun size. It was the when they just started coming out with the bigger bags, not the little small ones that is just enough to make you mad, but a little bit bigger to where you feel like, okay, now I got 2 handfuls. This is good. Well, that one was meant for me. No, that's not the way it turned out. Sorry, Coach Gibson, but you got the smaller pack and I got the bigger one because I had some emotions that had to be taken care of that day. So when we feel that way, it's almost uncontrollable. And that's one kind of craving that we can have, that uncontrollable craving to where if we don't get it, the back of our jaw is like Pac-Man and it's just going to eat up our mouth, right? Then we have these other kinds of cravings. We have a craving, maybe you're sick and you are craving water and salt. And this is the kind of sick where you're running a fever. Your body is automatically bringing you towards and telling you, okay, girl, you need some water and you need something salty because I'm running a fever. And that is why people typically have the chicken broth, something like that, chicken noodle soup, along with water in order to give their body what it needs at the time. If you have a sore throat, you might crave popsicles or jellos, something that's a little more cool and feels good on the throat. Those cravings are beautiful cravings to have because sometimes our body is in a place where it needs help and we can get those cravings. And I'm going to dive deeper to these in a minute. I just want to give you kind of an overview. So then the other kind of craving we can have is a craving that maybe when you were younger, the way that your family celebrated was by going to get ice cream. And then you find that as an adult, anytime you want to feel good or celebrate something, what do? You go for the ice cream. That's another kind of craving. So some cravings are beneficial and some cravings are not beneficial. Hence, the pound bag of M&Ms that found its way into my room. So let's get started just diving into these on a deeper level so I can explain them to you so you can get to know your cravings. Because when we get to know our cravings and what kind of craving it will release us from the guilt, from the judgment, from the criticism that we give ourselves because we crave something. So let's come at these cravings from that place of, I don't know, interest, curiosity, maybe even just a little bit of fun so that we don't get down on ourselves. Because the moment we get down on ourselves because we craved something is the moment our body goes into storing fat, utilizing lean tissue for energy, lowering healthy gut bacteria, lowering digestive enzymes, leaching out vitamins, vital nutrients from our bones. We don't want any of that to happen. So when we have a craving, it's best if we can just come at it from the Hawkeye view and be able to look at that craving and see, oh, that's the reason why this is going on. Interesting. That is the most helpful word I can teach you when it comes to your food habits, your food cravings, your patterns. is just for you to take that little Hawkeye view and go, interesting, because that takes all the heat right out of it. All right. So let's get rolling on what these cravings are really, really, really about for you. The first kind of craving I want to talk with you about is the supportive cravings. Supportive cravings are those that if your body is needing help, healing from something, maybe your body is needing to elevate in health for something, then it will begin to crave certain foods. So it's very interesting, but if you are craving salty foods, it means one thing. If you're craving sugar foods, it means another. Pungent foods, spicy foods, all of the different kind of foods that we crave all means something specific. And so if you're interested in what you're craving, maybe you're craving sugar, just look it up. I'm sure Google will have lots of ideas for you and of what the reason why you're craving that. Many times that will direct us into what our body is needing. So if we have that guide around those cravings, those specific supportive cravings, when we have that guide to look at, then we can better support our body, supportive cravings, support our body through that craving. And it's like, oh, thank you, body. Thank you for telling me what I needed. That's when we go through that process of really being interested and curious about why our body would go through that kind of craving. Maybe even our mind is going through, our brain is going through that kind of craving. And as we move through these, you're going to see where the brain really does show up when it comes to cravings. And it's typically not the good ones, not the good ones at all. So think right now back to some cravings you've had, and have you had any cravings that are the supportive ones? And do you remember getting down on yourself because you had that food or had too much of that food, or you had that food over and over and over again, and you are feeling some judgment around it? Now it's time to take that judgment away and not be so judgmental towards yourself, and just be a little bit more understanding about the needs of your body. Now, when we come into the dispersive cravings, this is the second type of craving, is a dispersive craving. And that word just kind of describes it right there, doesn't it? And it's a desire for a food or a drink that drains your energy, drains it. It leaves you feeling lethargic, unfulfilled, moody, guilty, you name it. That is the pound bag M&Ms that found its way into my shoebox. That's exactly what I felt. Heavy, guilty. I judged myself like crazy. And in fact, I went and ran 3 to 5 miles, something like that. That's the way I punished myself when I was in high school, was I would go and run right after I ate it. King size Snickers bar, oops, feel guilty, go out and run right then. How unhealthy is that? All that food in your stomach, and then you're trying to get your heart rate up and pounding and burning that off. Well, it's not going to burn off because it's still sitting in your stomach. That type of disordered eating is so backwards. So if that happens to be you, check into that and realize that if you exercise with food in your tummy still and not give it time to go through the digestive process, but the guilt is overpowering you so much that you got to go out and run, just stop and check yourself, because that food needs to digest completely. Otherwise, the whole time you're exercising, your gut brain is shut down. The whole assimilation, burning of that food is all shut down. The food is sitting in your stomach, literally, waiting for you to get back to a relaxed state so it can be digested. So you went and ran, or whatever it is that you did or do, and then when you get back, you know how your stomach feels, just all, oh, yucky. You may feel nauseous. You feel like there's a rock in your tummy. Well, it's because there is. There is a rock in your tummy. And you're going to have to chill yourself out so that it can go through that assimilation process. So you didn't even burn it up at all. So wait the hour for it to get into your stomach before you go exercise. Always wait an hour to 2 hours after you eat to go and exercise so that you get the full benefit of the exercise and you get full digestive and assimilation power of your meal, and you can utilize those nutrients later. All right, so dispersive, think of those dispersive cravings you may have. You know, chocolate is usually a big one for women. We crave chocolate like crazy. And sometimes that can be a supportive, especially if it's the really rich, dark 77 or above. But if it's the lower end chocolates, then that truly is becoming more of a dispersive because that has more of the sugar in it and that milky chocolate flavoring. And that is the kind of craving that you would want to resolve emotionally, disconnect it from, and also just learn about it, why it's present. And because most likely, y'all, you don't even need it. Dispersive cravings usually come to us because we are needing something at that time. We're needing a jolt of feel-good feeling. And food gives us that feel-good feeling. It does. Food gives us a natural high, especially when that sugar is involved. We get a natural high instantly, we feel good for a moment, and then what does it do? We crash. So we're looking for that, but inside of us doing that action, because it made us feel good, our brain picked up on that pattern, the subconscious mind did, because when we eat, we pick up information sensorially. And so that pattern was created. And now every time you go to feel yucky, your brain says, oh, I know what to do to make you feel good. Here, crave this. And it will send you to that craving so that you feel good, because your brain only wants to do good for you. It only wants you to feel great about yourself. That's what the brain does. It's designed to make you feel good and to stay alive. So it creates these patterns that become dispersive cravings. Once we realize that, then we can break that pattern. We can break it. We're armed with power. And then the third kind of craving that I was speaking to is associative. This one saved my life. And I truly, truly do feel like this craving saved me. So when I was going through the time in my life where I was afraid to eat, there were maybe 10 foods that I felt safe eating. And of these 10 foods, vanilla ice cream was number one on the list. And the reason why vanilla and not any other flavorings, number one, is because I grew up with vanilla and it reminded me of family. My sister and I, after dinner, would fix us a bowl of ice cream, and then we would squirt Hershey's milk chocolate on top of it. We'd stir it up to where it got that soft ice cream, soft serve like Dairy Queen, soft, and we would eat it. And oh my gosh, I just have the most wonderful memories around that. And then my family always went out for ice cream when it was time to celebrate one of us kids doing something cool, being in a play or running a race. Whether we won or lost, we ran a race. So therefore we go celebrate. And it was always so fun. So ice cream was good. Ice cream was family. Ice cream was safety. Ice cream was security for me. It meant I was going to keep living because I felt good. So I would eat that ice cream, and I ate it every single night for several years. And if it hadn't been for that ice cream, I probably would have disappeared physically. But the emotion in that it brought to me, the safety that it brought to me when I would eat it, oh my gosh, it was amazing. That's an associative craving. It brought me back to my childhood when I felt safe, when I felt loved, when I felt secure, when I felt like, oh, everything is going to be okay. That's what I needed to feel during those times when I was scared to eat. That is a beautiful representation of an associative craving. So what happens with associative cravings? Y'all, it's really fun because an associative craving is really good until it's not. And I got to a point where it was no longer beneficial for me. I did not gain weight during that entire time, but I was barely eating, right? I was afraid to eat, but there was no weight gain, no nothing. Even after my fear disappeared and I continued doing it, it was still good for a little bit. And then all of a sudden, it was no longer good. And I began to gain weight. I began to feel lethargic, foggy thinking, and I began to get very irritable after I ate it. Very irritable. So it is no longer beneficial for me. And that's when I knew that I needed to disconnect the pattern that my brain had created, disconnect from that so that I could be free of that ice cream and no longer rely on it to make me feel good. So when you're working with all three of these, they are beneficial while they're helping to support you. And then they're no longer beneficial after that. Your first time that you do a desire for food on that dispersive craving, you have that desire for the food because you need that lift and you go and do it. That was okay. It's when we repeat it over and over because the pattern that's set up shop in our subconscious mind. That is when we need to eliminate it. So how do we do that? I want to just give y'all one little pro tip today. One pro tip on this and help you be able to eliminate the dispersive and then those associative cravings that become dispersive, be able to work with those. So first you want to recognize what's happening. So that's what happened with me on the ice cream. All of a sudden realize, oh my gosh, I'm so irritable. And I just had that ice cream. I'm supposed to be happy. What happened with this? So I got in awareness. And then I looked at how the ice cream is made. Is the ice cream made with a lot of ingredients? Like there's a very popular brand that I'm not going to say on here. There's a very popular brand that puts a ton of ingredients, and it's like one of the most favored ice creams. And when they first came out, they were incredible. But now they have a list of ingredients like this. That would tell me that that is not a very viable ice cream. However, the ice cream I got was cream and sugar. That's about it. It was cream and sugar. Oh my gosh, I think it had 3 ingredients total. And so, okay, so the ingredients are wholesome. So I'm looking at how it's made. The ice cream I got, it was wholesome. Then I'm going to look at a second question. Does it feed muscle or fat? Oops, the ice cream didn't feed my muscle. The ice cream is feeding the fat stores. Ooh, okay. That kind of gave me a picture in my mind. Doesn't it give you a picture in your mind? Ugh, I'm feeding the fat, the adipose tissue on my body. No. So then the third question I'm asking, so the second question was 2 questions. The third question is this in alignment with my purpose? My reason for being is alignment with my heart song. Is this food going to allow me to feel energized and filled with vitality to live out the song of my heart? No. If it was making me irritable and causing my body to gain weight again, then it definitely was no longer in alignment with my purpose. No longer at all. So when I'm feeling all that, we take our time with these questions because we want to feel them in our body, the answers in our body. And when I realize, oh gosh, it's feeding fat and it's not in alignment with my mission, with my purpose. Do I still want it? Do I still want this? No. However, if you do want it, if you say yes to that question, yeah, I still want it. I'm in the mood for it. It's good. Then you give yourself permission and you enjoy that ice cream or whatever it is with awareness, in that place of slow, in that place of deliciousness, in that place of pleasure, where all of the senses are present and you are enjoying every single morsel. You're not doing anything else but enjoying that food that you're eating, especially if it's a food that is not feeding muscle. If it's a food that's feeding fat, you definitely want to slow down and be aware and have only pleasurable feelings around this food. But if you answer no, then you can just dismiss it and move on. Now, for some, they may feel a little bit of tension when you say, no, I'm not going to have it. But when you turn away from it, there could be a grip. So that just means that the subconscious mind has a connection to it, a physiological connection that's contributing to that feeling that you're having in your body. And so there is a way that you can eliminate that. There's many ways out there that have been found to eliminate that. And the tool that I use, couldn't find that word. The tool that I use is emotional resolution. So you'll hear me say that a lot. And if you want more information on that, just please feel free to reach out to me because it is so easy. It is so good. It's called emotional resolution and it is phenomenal. In fact, they just came out with an app for it. So you can look up that app as well. But I'd like for you to reach out to me though, and then I can send you over there. All right. So we want to give ourselves permission though, if we want the food. And I mentioned that word pleasure, and something I want you to understand is that when it comes to food, we always want to be in a place of pleasure physiology inside our body so that the food is assimilated, digested and assimilated with ease and without distress, and it goes all the way through top to bottom. Otherwise, if we're ever stressed around the food that we're eating, it's not going to be that way. So eating is truly a soul's journey because we want to be in that place of pleasure, enjoyment, relaxation anytime we eat, even if it's a bowl of ice cream with Hershey syrup on it. We still want to be in that place of pleasure and never, never, never in a place of judgment. So I want to leave you with this. Embrace your cravings with curiosity and compassion. Embrace them with curiosity and compassion, and you will learn so much more about you and who you are as an eater and who you are inside of all your cravings. So you can begin to put them in order. You can begin to release the cravings that aren't serving you, and you can hold on to all that is serving you and making you even more vibrant and more healthy than you already are right now. Y'all, it's been so much fun to be with you. Thank you for joining me today for this episode of Ashley's Heart Song. Join me again next week as we continue to armor up our lives in a really big way. See you next time.